name's Bill Ashman, and the banjo is my passion. I've had this banjo about 12 years now, and it came with the armrest. Most banjos have armrests to keep your arm off the head of the banjo to keep from muting the sound. If your banjo has an armrest on it, it's probably a lot like this one. This is a standard master tone type single leg armrest that's nickel plated. Mounts right on here. For the first year or so, I had the metal armrest on there and it didn't feel very comfortable. I didn't like the way the metal felt in my arm. So I mounted a wood top on it. You can still see I have the original armrest still there. But I've had this top on here for about 10 years now. And since then, I've made and sold over 100 of these all over the world, mostly on eBay. And the first question that people ask me is, will this one of these fit on my banjo? So I'm going to show you today a little bit about how I make these, and I'm also going to show you how to measure to see if it'll fit on your banjo. Alright, first thing I do is I look for a really nice, cool piece of wood. This is a piece of cherry burl that is just about the right thickness already. To look and see what the grain's going to look like, I just take regular water and wipe it down. And you can see this is going to have some really pretty wood in it. Here's another look at some of the back of it. Now, once I find a nice piece of wood and I figured out where I would like to get the armrest out of, I've built a jig that helps me cut it into a blank similar to this one. I've also built that helps me rat out the back of it. And this is so that the metal part can fit in. That's held on there with 3 little brass screws. Otherwise, it's probably the exact same armrest that you have on your banjo. It just now has a wooden top on it. Taking another jig that rounds over it a little bit, and I start working it down with sandpaper. This is another piece of cherry burl that I got out of that same piece of wood. Now, it hasn't been sanded, and I haven't done anything else to it yet, but you can see it's going to be beautiful. This armrest started out the same color 10 years ago. But as most furniture makers know, cherry gets darker, richer, and prettier, in my opinion, as it ages. Now here I've got a couple of examples. These aren't mounted on the wood yet, but you can on the metals yet, but you can see this is a mahogany. Brown mahogany, and I make this one because a lot of banjos have mahogany necks. This is another cherry like we just looked at, and once again these are all brand new and they haven't changed coloring. This is 100% solid ebony. This wood is solid black and very dense and very heavy. I've sold several of these. They're kind of expensive because it's very hard to get good quality pieces of ebony wood. Now, how do you tell if this will fit on your banjo? Well, the first thing you do is you count the brackets around the outside edge. This is a standard 11-inch banjo and has 24 brackets, 12 on each side. Take you a good measuring device, measure between any two of them because they're about all equal distance around. I can see that on mine here that these are almost exactly center to center, 1.5 inches apart from center to center, or from outside edge or outside edge. Now on this bracket, the part that actually attaches to your banjo, this is 2 inches. I found that anything over 1.75 inches won't fit. It's too difficult to get it to stay on. You can see these come from the manufacturer, filed at the proper distance already. If you're interested in one of these and the distance between your brackets are less than 1.75 inches, I will be glad to file these to fit exactly on your banjo if you send me the measurements. I use a Dremel tool, I put it down on there, and it's very easy to do, and you don't have to do it. One other thing you have to take into consideration is how much distance you have on your banjo between the inside of the bracket and the outside rim of your banjo. In this case on mine, I've got a good healthy 1/4 inch. The reason why you need, you don't need quite that much, but you need at least enough room for this metal piece to fit behind the 2 brackets. And then this hex bolt is what holds it on your banjo. It's still adjustable up and down, and the extra height that the wood creates on top of the metal I found to be more comfortable instead of less comfortable. So you got to have approximately 1/4 inch from the inside of one of your brackets to the outside edge of the pot of your banjo, and you got to have no more than 1.75 inches between here. Most banjos that have 24 brackets or 20 brackets. Now if you've only got 20 brackets and you have a 12-inch head, it's not going to fit. Most of the Deering Good Time banjos only have 16 and 18. They won't fit. I'm working on a project. Someday maybe I can figure out a way to extend these to where they can fit wider spaces. But right now, 1.75 inches is the limit. Like I said, I've made dozens of these out of all kinds of wood. I've sent them everywhere. I've never had a problem ever with them. I've got 2 or 3 of them in New Zealand. I've got them in Australia. I think Czech Republic is probably as farthest I've sent one. But anyway, I will be glad to make one for you. But the first thing you have to do is make sure it's going to fit on your banjo. Otherwise, you take your old one off, you put the new one on, keep your old one, you can always put it back on if you want. Thanks, and keep on picking.